Hi, I'm Greg from Geek Channel. Do you need 4K? It's 4 times bigger resolution than Full HD. Let's talk about it. Stay with us. 4K is very challenging for the camera. It requires much more pixels read out and much more processing power. Many modern cameras do support 4K, or at least somewhat. Some, like Sony cameras, allow filming from full width of the sensor without a crop. But some cameras crop their sensor to exactly 8 megapixels to reduce processing power and issues with pixels read out. Some cameras have as much crop by factor of 2. That's a lot because you're losing your wide angle of the lens, and in my opinion it's pretty annoying. What is the benefit of 4K resolution? While it's 4 times higher resolution than Full HD and the detail in the video is much bigger, the question is simple. Do we need it? Are you watching my video with your 4K screen or TV? Most likely not. Probably you're watching my video from your mobile phone, which is not 4K, or from your computer, which is probably Full HD. If most of people are watching our videos in Full HD, why should we invest in 4K? Or at least maybe because I enjoy watching myself in higher detail? Well, actually, more because we want to be future-proof. We want that people will keep enjoying our videos in many years to come. That's why we invested in 4K. Of course, it's your call. You don't have to invest in 4K. You can start with Full HD video camera and be perfectly happy with it. It's much easier to edit your videos on Full HD than 4K. File sizes are smaller, it means longer recording time on your memory cards, it means you need less computer power to edit your videos. There are many benefits of 4K, but there are a lot of benefits for Full HD as well. I believe that 4K is the way to go because we want to be future-proof. But you can have different considerations and decide starting with Full HD, which is perfectly fine as well. Full HD videos looks great even on 4K monitors. So Full HD is a good way to start as well. You don't have to invest in 4K equipment. You can, if you can afford it, but you really not must doing that. You can start with Full HD and it will be easier for you. And most of current viewers still will watch you in Full HD. About over 80%, as I assume, from the statistic and analytics that I watched for my channel. Another consideration of choosing Full HD over 4K is frame rate. The thing is that most of budget-oriented cameras which are capable of shooting 4K are shooting on 24 or maximum 30 frames per second. Even more expensive cameras like Sony Alpha 7 III, which we are using for filming this video. While on Full HD, many cameras allow 60 FPS, some allow 120 FPS for slow motion and even more. So you can benefit from much higher FPS on lower resolution. But that depends on the style of your shooting. You know, most of cinema is shot on 24 frames per second, and we are shooting this video on 24 frames per second as well. It gives more cinematic look and feel, but that's quite challenging, especially if you're going with camera and you are panning with it to avoid this jumpy picture. There is a very certain speed you can pan the camera to avoid that, and that's quite difficult, especially for non-experienced videographer. Why it happens? Because you have not many frames each second, and if you move your camera a lot between the frames, you will see this jump. Because every frame is like a photograph. And if there is big difference between two photographs, you will see this jump. That's why you see that. And that's especially annoying if you have vertical lines, like doors, walls and stuff like that. So that's why we prefer not do any panning and just place the camera every time stationary and make the shots like that. So if you shoot more frames per second, you can use higher shutter speeds and you can move your camera faster. But there is another thing. If you shoot at higher frame rate, you need to have higher shutter speed. For example, if you shoot 24 frames per second, your minimal shutter speed is 1 on 24 seconds, while the recommended is twice of that, which is 180 degrees angle of shutter if talking in terms of cinema cameras, which would be 1 on 48. Most cameras don't have 1 on 48. They shoot, for example, 150, but 150 is also fine. But if you're shooting 60 frames per second, you should shoot at speeds of 1 to 120. And if you have faster shutter speeds, then you need more light or use higher ISO. Higher ISO is more noise. For example, I shoot this video on 130. The reason for that is because of the flickering of my LED lights. If I'll shoot it on 150, you will see some of the flickering, like lines scanning the screen. So to avoid that, I use longer shutter speed, and that solves this problem. But using longer shutter speeds doesn't allow fast movement, otherwise it will be very blurry. So there are several considerations for choosing Full HD and 4K. Also, according to statistics, in most of the world, internet doesn't allow loading 4K videos, because many people watch your videos only on Full HD maximum. 4K is just too much. So still, most of your audience probably will watch you on Full HD even if you filmed your videos on 4K. Like in this example, I'm almost sure you're watching us on Full HD. And Full HD still looks very good, right? There are many very good cameras from older generations which are still available, like Sony Alpha 7, which allows shooting on Full HD, but it doesn't support 4K. It's still great camera, and still you can find this camera new in many shops, and it allows you shoot great Full HD video. So that's another consideration. If you want full frame sensor, which has a lot of benefits like shallow depth of field, that allows you buy a cheaper camera, which is still very good. I hope I helped you to decide which resolution is better for you. So let me know in the comments which resolution do you prefer and why. So please subscribe to get notifications for our new videos. For those who watched our video to the end, there is a bonus episode. Many people prefer interchangeable lens camera like Sony ZV-E10 over Sony ZV-1. But in my previous video, which is here or here, yeah, it's probably there, in that corner, I still recommended ZV-1. Why? Because for the same price point, you get the ZV-E10 with a kit lens. This lens has very slow aperture comparing with fast aperture of ZV-1. So in same conditions, those cameras will perform the same despite the bigger sensor of ZV-E10 because of the slower lens. So basically you are buying a camera with a bigger sensor but crippling it with a slower lens. Also, ZV-1 has pretty impressive macro capabilities. So the question is, buying higher end camera with a bigger sensor with a kit lens? I think it's better to buy a camera with a smaller sensor but with a better lens. Of course, you can tell that ZV-E10 has interchangeable lenses and you can put whatever lens you wish. Yes, this is true, but high quality lens with fast aperture costs a lot of money, almost like this camera. If you have the budget for those better lenses, of course, go for interchangeable lens camera, no question about that. That's what we did, so we decided to go for the full frame because the budget allows, and take the Sony Zeiss 55mm 1.8 prime lens, which has great sharpness, great resolution, and it's fast. But that's quite expensive solution. So if you buy high-end camera, I think it's worth buying only if you invest in good lenses. Buying it with a kit lens is like crippling your camera. So let us know in comments, what do you think? Does it worth buy a higher-end camera with a kit lens and in the future upgrade it to better lenses? Or buy a camera with a smaller sensor but with a better lens? I believe that you need to buy whatever you need now and not expect for upgrading, because the technology changes so fast that upgrading may not be feasible in the near future. If you have chosen some interchangeable lenses camera system, and you buy lenses, later on you can upgrade to more advanced body and so on. But if you will decide switch from one brand to another, you will have problem. Yes, there are adapters, but with adapters not all functions are working. For example, I have many Canon lenses from the era when I used DSLRs. I could use those lenses with my Sony a7 III with a special adapter, like metabones, but not all functions of focus would work correctly, like eye autofocus and so on, not working as good as with native Sony lenses. So adapter is not a solution. That's why I believe that nowadays you are not buying lenses for 30 years. Systems are changing so quickly that you might want upgrade to other camera system. So my advice is buy what you need and don't count on upgrading in the future and buying more lenses. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe. See you soon. If you're reading crop of the sensor, literally you'll Happy Passover holidays! Chag Pesach Sameach!